Hello everyone, I'm Alex Dykes, and today we're taking a look at Chrysler's uConnect 8.4 system. This is also known as uConnect 2. This has been completely revised for 2014 and 2013 model years of certain Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram products. It's identifiable from the previous version, 8.3, by having this Chrysler uConnect apps button. Also, in most 2013 and 2014 products that you'll find uConnect 2 or uConnect 8.4, you'll also find some form of large LCD instrument cluster replacing either the speedometer or portions of the gauges in the instrument cluster. Right now we're inside a 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Grand Cherokee's LCD instrument cluster first. Strictly speaking, this large LCD instrument cluster is not part of the infotainment system, but because it does interact with it, we're going to go over it first. Now, it's controlled by this button module on the left side of the steering wheel. Over here we have our voice command buttons, our phone button, and this four-way joystick controls that LCD screen. So you can go up and down, and you can go across. This LCD instrument cluster has been spreading its way through Chrysler's lineup. It started in the all-new Dodge Dart Rally Edition, which is not a terribly expensive vehicle, and now we're finding it right here in the Jeep Grand Cherokee. It's a large 7-inch display, and it's user configurable, which differentiates itself from the Jaguar and Land Rover products, which don't have as much customization. Right now, we're in the speedometer screen, and you can choose between a dial and a digital layout. If we go down one, you can change to your kilometers an hour. You can also get various vehicle display information displays. And right now we're seeing this with a large digital readout there. But if we went back up to the speed and we switched to the dial view, and then we scrolled back down through these displays, you'd see that those same information readouts are now in the center of that instrument cluster, that sort of digital speedometer gauge with that little needle there. Now we have all manner of various information displays on the system, from battery voltage to transmission temperature, etc. Since we're in a Grand Cherokee Overland Summit, we also have Select Train as well as the adaptive air suspension, so you can get information readouts on drivetrain, wheel articulation, etc. You can see the status of your various safety systems. All we pretty much have in this car is adaptive cruise control with forward collision warnings. That's all we're seeing there. Here we have our fuel economy screen. As you can see, we've been averaging 17.3 miles per gallon in the Grand Cherokee Summit. The important thing with that number is that we have been doing a great deal of off-roading. We have been doing a lot of idling for our photo shoot, etc. And so before we started doing that, for the first 600 miles or so, we were averaging about 20 miles per gallon, and it has dropped quite a bit. We have our various trip computer indicators here. If we scroll down to our media tab, you can see that we are on iPod right now. The only unfortunate thing with this is that you notice it's not displaying any album art or any track information. If we switch over to Sirius XM, we do get a little bit more information in that display. If we move down one more, we have messages. This is where the vehicle will tell you, there's tire low or something's wrong. That's where that would be stored. We go to our screen setup, and in here you can choose what you want displayed in various quadrants of the system. So right now in the upper left, we have our trip A. You can choose trip A, trip B, compass, outside temperature, etc. You can have all manner of various displayed items there. You can choose the same for the upper right. You can have the current gear displayed, and that's over here right next to drive. There'd be a small number. You can choose gear display, whether you want this to be a standard PRNDL or just a single character, for instance. Right there now it's just showing P for park. It allows you a decent range of customization compared to, again, that Jaguar and Land Rover system. Coming back to the center console, you'll notice that we don't have a slot for a CD player anywhere in the center console. And that's because a CD player is a $195 option in the Grand Cherokee for 2014, and they place that CD player in the center console under the armrest. Now you need to know that that CD player is not compatible with the Blu-ray rear seat entertainment system, so you have to choose either one or the other. Instead, as with most cars, we're focusing on digital entertainment, and that's honestly fine by me because I haven't used a CD player in a car in a particularly long time because my tunes are always with me right here on my phone, and we can plug our phone into our car, of course. If you're easily bored or you just don't care about infotainment, then go ahead and follow those instructions at the bottom of your screen to move on over to the drive section of the review, and we'll pick you up there. Now on this screen we have our radio interface, and that's AM, FM, Sirius XM satellite as well. And these are preset buttons up top. We can press this button and get another 6 presets. We have individual presets for AM, FM, and Sirius satellite radio. We can also browse and we can direct tune in the system, which is very handy. Over on the Media tab, you'll find our iPod, our SD card, auxiliary, and Bluetooth interface. I have an iPod connected right now to the system. It's my iPhone 5, and you can see that we get album art, we get current album information. We also have full access via this interface here to our iPod's artists, playlists, songs, albums, etc. We also have full voice commands in this generation of uConnect, so you can hit the voice button on the steering wheel and command the car to play everything from artist Madonna or artist Aaron Tippin, something like that. System does work very well. It's just about as good as Ford's My Touch, or My Ford Touch, I always get that wrong. Works very well like those systems. We have that SD card, which I still haven't met anybody that actually carries music around in their car in an SD card, but if you do, that's there. Over here on this audio button, we find our balance, fade, equalizer, speed adjusted volume, and surround sound controls, which are included in our Grand Cherokee Summit. One nice feature about this version of uConnect is that we do have slider controls, so if you drag your finger down this screen, you can scroll down to a particular letter, for instance, if you're looking for a particular artist. You can also, once you're playing the song, if we choose our song there, you can also scroll along this little bar here to fast forward to a particular point in the track. That works very well. It's very intuitive as well. Down here on the controls button, this is a momentary pop-up, and this is where you'll find your heated steering wheel, your vented seat, your heated seats, as well as some additional settings. There's a little shortcut to the vehicle settings menu there. If we go over to the climate control button, you'll see the rest of the missing buttons that are not lower in the physical button display, and you'll also get current status of the system. There's a little shortcut here to go right back to that control screen as well. If we hop over to the nav button, you'll notice this should look very familiar to you if you're used to any Garmin products, and that's because what Chrysler has done is they've basically just inserted Garmin software into this uConnect system. So on the downside, that means that the voice commands are a little bit peculiar. Most systems, if you wanted to voice command a navigation destination, you'd hit the voice command button and you'd say navigation destination. Here you'd say navigation and then you'd say where to, and you just read these topics off of this list, and that's exactly what you'd say to the car if you wanted to voice command any of these particular entries. Voice commands do work very well, but they do take a bit of getting used to, especially if you own a car that has voice commands that are different than this, and you don't have two Chryslers in your garage, for instance. Over here on View Map, you'll notice we have a somewhat medium resolution map. It does support dragging both your finger, which is very intuitive, and it does support XM nav traffic as well. Over here on the phone button, you'll find presets along the top so you can direct dial particular people from your address book. We have a mute button, transfer button, conference call, redial end, pretty much your normal settings there. If your phone supports it, we can do text messaging with this system. My iPhone 5, however, does not support that. Over here we have a phone book, recent calls. We have a direct dial button here so you can enter a number manually or press buttons if you're on one of those IVR systems. Over here on the uConnect apps button, this is all new for 2014 in this 8.4 version of uConnect, and you'll find favorite apps, you'll find the media apps, information apps, tools, etc. Now, rather unfortunately, our Grand Cherokee does not come preloaded with the apps because you'd have to actually buy them through the uConnect store. So we click onto that uConnect store button. You'll see that we have the base app, which is missing here, is the Advantage package, and that would be $19.99 a month, and you'd get Bing, remote door unlocking, all this other stuff, voice texting, 911 assistance, horn and lights, remotely. If you lose your car in the parking lot, they can turn it on. You'll get Yelp as well. The unfortunate thing is you do need a uConnect account to do that, so we can't test that for you on this car. We also have a Wi-Fi hotspot built into this system because we have a data modem in this car for all those data surfaces, so they just added a little Wi-Fi chip in there so that way you can pair that with your phone or your laptop or whatever and Wi-Fi on the road. uConnect 8.4 provides enough power now so that you can charge your high current draw devices like Apple's iPad via the USB connector in the dashboard. Our 2014 Grand Cherokee also includes 2 user USB ports for the rear seat passengers, but those are charging only ports. So our iPad is plugged into one of those ports right now, and you'll see that we only see the iPhone in the system. So if I unplug the iPhone, we won't have anything plugged in. Those ports are charging only. You cannot use them for the infotainment system. Compared to Cadillac's Q, this system is an awful lot more reliable, and I think Cadillac Q is a fair comparison. You don't get the fancy pinch to scroll or pinch to zoom functionality that you get in Cadillac's Q, but honestly, it doesn't work very well in Q to begin with. So I'm glad that it's not here. This system is based on a Linux kernel. It's actually closely related to BlackBerry's BlackBerry OS 10 that you'll find in their latest BlackBerry products. It's very reliable, very robust, especially when you compare it to Cadillac Q as well as the latest Ford and Lincoln Touch products. I do like the way my Ford Touch and my Lincoln Touch look and operate, and I like the fact that you can voice command things like your climate control and other options in the car that you cannot do with uConnect. However, uConnect is far, far more reliable. I have yet to have a Chrysler uConnect system crash on me, and we have had several this week. Probably more uConnect systems reviewed this year than we have my Ford Touch systems, and none of them have crashed. And absolutely every single one of the Ford products that we have had have crashed at least once during the week, and that is a little bit of annoying, an annoying problem when you're out on the road. This system, overall, I think I rate higher than my Ford Touch just because of its reliability in that respect. Definitely above Cadillac Q. This is probably the best in the current crop of American infotainment systems that's available. The only bad part is that this is not available in every Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram vehicle. Hopefully Chrysler will sort that out soon, though.